Well, hello there and welcome to yet another video here on my YouTube channel. I hope you are well. I hope you are enjoying the weekend, and I say that quite loosely because as I am filming this, it is a Sunday morning and you might be watching this during the week. You might be watching it at night time, you might be watching it in 2046. So therefore this is kind of going to be irrelevant. Unless when you watch this in 2046, if it happens to be a Sunday morning when you're watching it, then of course this is all perfect. Anyway, I'm just yabbling on with the pointless chit chat when it comes to what we've got, which is far more important. And we've got a brand new launch. Now, what is important is if you are watching this within the time scale, today it is, let me find the date, the 17th of September. This is Sunday, the 17th of September. And on Tuesday the 19th of September, I'm going to be on Crafters TV with the beautiful Debbie Fisher, where we're going to be on all day, and we have got a new tool on the block. Now, this is one that not only is going to enable you to take elements from your Crafters Companion collection to another level, this is really going to take your crafting far and beyond. If you're wanting to bring elements such as your illustration, your artwork, if you want to do your parchment crafts, anything like that, then this new tool is absolutely going to be the one for you. Even if you are not looking to dabble into additional crafts, maybe you are just solely going to want to dabble with some of your Crafters Companion stamps, maybe your copyright free fonts that you can find online, then what we've got coming to you is an absolute staple within the craft room. And I say that like me, you're maybe not going to use it on a daily basis. You know, maybe you're just going to use it a couple of times a week, maybe, you know, once or twice a week. This is something that I do believe every crafter needs to have within their source, because it's something that will become handy at some point, and it gives you the ability to then come along, and then if you do look to then progress into things such as parchment crafts or illustration work, or if you just want an additional light source to lean on, then our brand new light pad is absolutely going to be the one for you. Now, when it comes to our light pad, it does have 3 light sources. So you've got a light light, a medium light, and then a darker light. If you can actually get a darker light, you know what I mean when it comes to the levels of the strongness of that light source. With this one as well, this is one element or one product that of course is going to work perfectly with the USB plugs within your Gemini 2, should you have a Gemini 2. If not, then of course it's just going to go into a USB plug socket wherever you are across the globe. That's the great thing about the end of a tool or a source, an electrical source with a USB, is it works worldwide, of course, without having to worry about the plug source. With this light pad, you're going to find it is ultra slim, which is awesome. And in so much so, if you are going to be using it and you want to store it just to the side of an additional light source, it fits in the media tray of your Gemini 2 as well. So with this one here, let's dive straight in and let's have a little look. Because what we have got, as I say, it is an essential tool when it comes to your crafting kind of needs within your craft room. It is a USB cable, as I was saying. Now, the screen size is 12 inches by 9¼ inches. If you are in centimeters, then that's 30.5 centimeters by 23.5 centimeters. Always gives you a little indication anyway as to what you could be doing, tracing, drawing, quilting, and so much more. Now, so much more will become apparent over the days, weeks, months, years, you know, the more that you start to use this and see the benefit of a light pad. Now, I've opened mine. Yours comes completely packaged when it comes so secure. You have got your packaging that is nice and of course soft. You've then got your foam protection all the way around as well, so you're going to get lots of extra padding inside. I've of course already taken mine out. Now, you don't get these, I'll talk you through these in a moment, but you do get of course your cable. Now, your cable is uber long, and off the top of my head I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but by the time we come to launch this, I'll have those details for you. So you've got an extra long cable, which is incredible. That's exactly what you need. You've got one end that's going to go into your light pad, your additional end that's going to go into your USB plug socket, your USB plug, or of course your Gemini 2. So what I'm then doing is I've chosen to always just keep it within this soft padded sleeve. So it's just a nice little protection. I'm going to keep it in its box at all time. And then here we go. Here is our brand new light pad. Now what you have got is you've got all of the tiny little dots within the middle. So it lights up on the outer edge and the illumination shines all the way through with all these microfiber little dots that you've got. You've got your power button, and that's all you need to know. The actual power source for it to plug into is just at the side next to the power button, and then we can then simply come along. We're just going to then plug it in, and then you're going to pop it into your electric source. Now for me, I'm just going to come along and pop it into the back of my Gemini 2. And then once you've plugged it into your source, it's going to light up green. It's going to light up green, and that's ready for you to then go. So you press it once and you can see that it lights up. Now it predominantly lights up around the edges, as I say, but that light is transferred edge to edge. Now even although you've got your black strip here down at the side where all the workings are, don't worry, you've still got that light source to the left hand side that is pulled all the way through. So from your four corners, your four edges, that light source is brought all the way in into all these tiny dots. It then illuminates the work that you're going to be doing. You press it a second time and then it gets brighter, and then you press it a third time and then it gets even brighter. So with this one, if you are just wanting to use it as an additional light source, then by all means you can absolutely do that, and then just set that up in front of you. This really gives you a good indication high up as to where the light is just pounding through that whole pad from the edge right to the middle. Nothing, no light source is missed within the middle just here. You're going to get that complete edge to edge where it illuminates from corner to corner, ready for you to then of course come along and do whatever you choose to do. Now, if we remember as well, our actual screen size, it is 12 inches by 9¼ inches. If you are going to be using it for things such as tracing, drawing, quilting, then of course you can do that, your parchment work, and so much more. Now, what I love about this one, and it's the one thing that I'm going to be using quite a lot, this is going to be really handy when it comes to our Crafter's Companion stamps that have the thick outline. Certainly the fonts, if you remember our brush lettering stamps that we done there, because you've got that thicker font, or if you go online and you find your fonts, so you type out and print out, a lot of your fonts, majority of your font work are copyright free, which the great thing with that one is, if you find a font, if you go into one of your printing apps that you tend to, you know, do your essays or type up your letters and all those sorts of apps, then of course you just type out whatever you want, choose a font that's got a really thick outline, or I say it has to be really thick, it doesn't, thick enough for you to then trace around. And as I said before, key thing is, as long as it's a copyright free one, then you can come along, you can start to create things like your own Zentangling and Zentangling and all your different doodle designs within the middle, and then start to create your different cards, your projects, great for your scrapbook pages, for that lovely sentiment or name or word or something along the bottom there. All you need to do is just decide what you're wanting to type and print, and then of course you can then start going. Maybe you are going to start doing things such as your illustration work, then of course that's when your light source is going to come in so handy. Maybe you're going to be doing your drawing, you want that illumination from underneath, and of course the benefit of a light source. Maybe you're not going to be using it in a creative way all the time, maybe at times you just want that extra light source just coming in from the side of you. Maybe you're doing a little bit of colouring, maybe you want that intimate light source, you know, in the living room or in the kitchen where you're doing your craft work, your colouring, your drawing, and you don't want the big light on, but you want that additional light source. It's a nice way then of course just to illuminate that surrounding area. But the whole purpose of this one is having that light source, that light pad in your craft room, in your crafty stash, for you to come along and use at whatever basis you want to, whether of course it's some of the different ways that I just talked you through. That is how simple our brand new light pad is. Now, as I said right at the very beginning, if you are watching this round about the time frame that I put this out, this is Sunday the 17th of September 2023, and this will be launching on Crafters TV on Tuesday the 19th of September 2023. So when I talk about the fonts that you can print out, what I have done is I've done a few different ones. So I've gone along with a few different ones, one of which I've come along with is Crafters TV. So I've gone along with Crafters TV. As I said, I've just printed it out, typed it out, printed it out, made sure, of course, it is a copyright-free one, which most of your fonts are. And then, of course, you can use this as your light source. Now, I have just copied or printed this out onto copier paper. Now, I would ideally do it onto things such as your Nina cardstock, if your printer allows, or your white multi-purpose. But of course, it's still going to work an absolute treat. So if I go back to the beginning where I switch it off, but we can then bring it in. I'm going to zoom in that little bit more. What I'm going to do is if I bring this back in here and I press it on, you can just see that little lit that just came a little bit brighter, and a little bit brighter. So if I bring that on now, because of my camera angles and all the lights that I've got on, because I need you to see this video, it's harder for you to see. So I'm going to try. There we go. So I switched my lights on, off. So you can see that slightly shining through. Now that becomes far more apparent face on. So for me, I can crystal clearly see that Crafters TV. You can too. However, it just looks a little bit more faded than it actually is because of you're watching this via your TV or your tablet or phone via your internet connection and your screen. So therefore, that's why it's a little bit fainter. But for me, this is absolutely vibrant in that transparency and I can see all the way through. So what I'm then going to do is I'm just going to take a very quick drink, but I have got my art liner. So I've got my art liner, just happens to be a 0.8. You can use our thinner ones or our thicker ones. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to come along. Now you can tape this down if you want to hold it down onto the paper. I'm not going to. I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to start to trace the outline. Now once again, you can see it there, Crafters TV. I've got it at an angle because it's easier for me to then trace. But I'm not wanting to trace the whole lot. I'm only wanting to trace the outline. So I'm just going to go all the way around that outline, working that in, bringing it in, and I am following that font that I've printed out. So if I then come in with the next one here, and I am exactly doing as I've done with the C, and just following that outline of the font that I can see crystal clearly, because of course I've got my light source underneath. So we're going to work it around, and then what we can then do is come along, we're just going to work our way. So I would do each individual letter at a time. Now for this one, this is all joined up, hence why I'm just doing this one full configuration. So then we're just going to go into that middle there, into here, and then into there. So we're going in, following that light source underneath, that's shining through, but I can of course see my font. So I've got my Crafters, and then I'm going to come along into there. And then we're going to add the S. So you could be printing out someone's name. And I do have to stress, please do make sure if you are, of course, going to be doing this and you're going to be giving them or gifting them, selling them, you do need to make sure that it's a copyright-free font. But you'll find because of what you do when it comes to your different apps you know, you type out for letters, resumes, essays, all that sort of stuff, that you find that most of them are copyright free anyway, for the purpose that they are. So we're just going to come in, and then that is me traced my outline of the Crafters TV. Simply press it, so just press it, so you press it once on, press it 2 for the second level, press it 3 for the third level, and then you press it again to switch it off. And that is just one of many ways in which you can then be using the light pad. Now it's all very well, it's like, well, okay, that's great, Craig, well then what am I going to do with that? Because I could have just printed out Crafters TV and added that to a card, or whatever I want to then print out. The great thing with this now is you can have fun. So you can then be your own designer when it comes to things such as Zentangling. So for this, instead of doing Zentangling as such, and I'm just going to switch my lights back on, what I'm then just going to do is, I like doing lots of little dots. I think that looks really, really smart. And at first, you just need to bear with it, because at first glance, you're just like, oh my gosh, that just doesn't look right. It looks like a mess. Whereas you just go with it. And I'm not being specific. All that I'm simply doing is lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of little dots. And if there's any areas that you want some shade in, then you just add extra dots. If you want it to be lighter, then of course you use less dots, and that works really, really well with the way that you start to form this together. So we're just going to work our way in, and then we're just going to then do our little dots. And I'm choosing just to use my black pen still, but you can then come along with any other colour that you want to. Whatever colour pen that you want. Maybe you want to do specific Zentangling. Maybe you want to come along and do things such as your lines. Maybe you want to come along and do zigzags. Maybe you want to do tiny, tiny little circular bubbles. Or, of course, as I say, what I think looks really, really smart, certainly at a distance, is just lots and lots and lots and lots of little dots. And this is such a great way as well. This could be this could be someone's name. This could be someone's 18th, and just type out 18 and then draw around, trace around with a light pad, and then you can then come along and then decorate your card and project as you wish. This could be, these dots that I'm doing, these could be our glitter pens, because our glitter pens of course have that really, really fineness. So I'm then going to come along, and then we're going to do lots of little dots into here, and then into here, and then we're just going to carry on going. You can see now from up above the effect that you're starting to get because of all these little dots. And the main thing is just dot. Dot, 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 dot. Don't think about it. Don't think about where you're doing it. Just dot, 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 dot. The only thing you're thinking about, if you want to, is it to be darker in certain areas and lighter in certain areas. The darker you want it to be, the more dots you're going to add. The lighter you want it to be, the less dots that you're going to add. So then you're just going to go all the way over. You can come along and then you can start to incorporate. Maybe you want to do most of it with the black dots and then add a little bit of colour with a few different colour dots. You can do that. There we go. And then there we go. I've got our Crafters TV. I'm going to come in just with a little bit more within here. And then we've got our Crafters TV. So what I'm then doing, let's go in with my Classic. And you know what I'm like when it comes to my stamp designs, and I think this still works really, really well. I'm going to go round with my Ice Grey 2. So this is my Ice Grey 2 Classique. It can of course be anything, such as your Ice Grey Illustrator, it could be your Ice Grey Tri-Blend, or it could be any other shade that you want. It doesn't have to be Ice Grey, but for me, I do like the Ice Grey effect. So we're just going to work. So we'll work our way around. So when I do this technique, it's another one not to overthink. I know some people get a little bit confused sometimes as to where you're going to go with your Ice Grey, but you're literally going around everything. You're going around everything. You're going in the little apertures as well, into here. Work our way in. Follow that all the way around. So we're getting that, making it stand out just that little bit more. And then we're going to come along, work our way around into here, follow all the way around, and then into there to finish. And then we've got our Crafters TV, which is pretty cool. I like that. I like that. I like that effect with all of the tiny little dots. And then I've done one with Ben and Craig that you can see here. And then what I've then done is, because I like the font, now I know you'll probably say, well, you could have just printed this out, Craig, in the colour from your printer, which you're right, I could have, but I like the fun of doing exactly what I'd done a moment ago, but instead of doing the little dots, I just went in with my Tri-Blend, my True Blue. And as I say, I could have very easily just printed it out, but it's that fun, it's that creativeness. It's adding my own touch, my own design, my own colour, my own outline by doing it that way. So I did do one with Leanne rules as well, so I'll show you that at the end. But what I'll do is, what I've done with the one for Leanne's rules cards, I'm going to replicate when it comes to this one. So all that I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down so it's nice and even for my eyes, and I'll get it to a size that I am happy with, and then I'll tell you what size it is. So let me trim that a little bit more. I'm going to trim that a wee bit more. So I've got Crafters TV, it's a bit even there, even there. Yep, happy with that one. So that is, so it's just over 5 1/4 and just over 2 inches. So I've got my Crafters TV, and then what we can do is we can then bring in I'm going to bring in my plaid pad. Actually, I'm going to bring in my yellow card first. We've got some yellow card, which is just from our textured 12 by 12. Have I got enough? No, it's not quite enough, unfortunately. So for this one, I'm going to give it a little matting layer. So I'm going to do 5 1/2 by 2 1/4. So I'm doing 5 1/2 by 2 1/4. And then I'm going to bring this in so it's just a very thin yellow layer. So I want a little bit more of a yellow layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much going to trim a few millimeters off the edge, and in actual fact I'm going to change my mind completely, because let's just change the design ever so slightly. So I'll bring in the one that I done with Leanne, and I'm going to replicate this card. But what I'm going to do, I was going to replicate it the exact same design, but what to do is I'm going to replicate the exact same layout, but I'm just going to change the colours. Let's maybe do a blue or something like that. So what we have got, or I tell you what, let's do purple. Let's do purple for Crafters TV. So we've got Leanne rules, and I've done that in the exact same way as I've done and showed you before with all of the little dots. So what I can then do, let's set that out the side. Let's get my plaid pad. And bring my plaid pad in, and then I want a bit of purple card. So once again, I'm going to go in with my 12 by 12, so I'm going to go in with my cool tones here. So let's go up above, let's bring out pattern that's got a bit of purple in it. Quite like that because it's nice and light, but yeah, I like that one. Let's use that one. So if I use that here, what I'm going to do though, let me just take all of the yellow and yellow plaids that I had already. So let me just move them out of the way. So we've got my purple for my Crafters TV, and then let's go in once again with purple. Let's see if I can use any of these offcuts that I've got left over. Is that the same shade? I'm not sure, but let's go for it. I don't know. I can't work out if that's a different. Is that the different shade? No, it's not. It's just the way the light is. I think it's just the way the light. Anyway, I'll stop chatting to myself here. Let's bring out a full sheet because I will need another sheet. I'm going to bring in a card blank, but of course I'm going to trim this one down because I like my top four. Actually, I won't need to do that from an 8x8. Let me bring in my white multi-purpose, and then I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, bring in my score master, and I'm going to fold this in half to create an A5 card. However, I am going to trim that down a wee bit more. So let's fold and burnish. So let's go let's try 5 by, I'm going to try 5 by 8. No, let's do 4.5 by 8. I might trim it a little bit more, but at the moment my card blank is going to be 4.5 by 8. So then what I'm going to do is let's bring in my little Crafters TV sentiment. Let's bring in my cardstock, and then let's give us a matting layer. So I'm just going to straighten up my card. So let's take that to, so let's do 2.25 by 5.5. 2.25 by 5.5, and then what I just want to do is I'm just going to trim that ever so slightly so that can fit into there. Perfect. But then what I'm going to do is if I then bring in, now I need to make that, actually I need to make that, I'm going to do 7.5 by 4.25. I'm just making sure, I'm just doing that the same size as the one that I've done my original. Yeah, that's it. So 7.5 by 4.25. So I'm going to go with that size there. That's going to go into the middle there. But what I also want is I want to bring in, I was purple and black. Yeah, I'm still going to add, although this is a dark purple, I'm still going to add some of the black, because I think it's still going to lift it ever so slightly. I don't want a lot of black. I'm just going to come just over 5.5 for now, and just over 2.25. So I've got my black matte layer, it's just a little bit thicker than what I want. So as always, trim it after a few mils at a time. Now, was that straight? No, there we go, that's straight now, but yep. So there's that one, and let's just trim that ever so slightly. So it's giving me a little black matting layer. I just want that little black to pull forward from the black that's in the middle. Right, that being said, let's bring in our purple. So I'm going to go in at, I'm going to do, let's do 3 3/4 by 6.5. Oh gosh, cut it to the wrong size. What did I say? 3 3/4 by 7. 3 3/4 by 7. Yep. Perfect mat all the way round. What I'm then going to do is let's bring in the purple. Have I got enough? Yes, I do with that one. Let me just even up my layers here. So for this one, I'm going to give myself a full 1/4 inch bigger. So 7.25 by 4. 7.25 by 4, and then I want a very small frame. So I'm going to go line this up just over 4 and just over 7.25. Let's line that up. Looks pretty spot on to me. So that will, actually I'm not, I'm wanting to, because I do like a little bit of white card blank showing all the way around, as you guys know. So I really want to give myself very, very fine black layer. Let's try that again. So little and often. Yep, happy with that. That will have that on there. that. I'll have that on there. And instead of being in the centre, I'm going to come to the side and I can do a couple of little flowers at each side just here. So that's that. So let's bring in, I'm going to stick with my flower die or my daisy die. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come along with my foam. Now I did bring some out. I did bring, what did I do with it? What did I do with the foam? Oh, I've got my white. So I got my white foam, which helps. And I did have a bit of yellow. Which I don't know where it's gone. Not that it matters. I can easily just get another bit. Oh, here we go. It's underneath here. Right. So what we can do is let's use my I'm going to use my mini for this, but I'm also going to do is I'm going to use my hot glue for the foam. Do want this to dry relatively quick, otherwise I would use my tacky glue. I'm not going to use my double-sided adhesive sheets for this like I have done, simply because I'm not wanting the full surface to stick down. So therefore I'm just going to use my hot glue. Let's come in with these ones here. So let's take my white foam and my yellow. Just bring in my mini. You can see here. Let's also come in with my next one. So let's just feed that through. Oh, I'm going to have to put my little centre, my daisy through separate. So let's take, so if I do 1 and 1, so what I'm thinking is if I do mediocre and then 2 small ones, that's my thinking anyway. So let's do another couple. Do that one there, and then let's do another one there. Let's do the die as well, or the circle. Of course I could tape it down, but I'm just going to go with it. Run it through. So overlay that there. Overlap that there. Bring in another couple. Actually, I'm just going to do those central ones. I'm going to do them separate for all the time that it'll take. Now, of course, you could do this out of cardstock. But I'm really loving our funky foam at the moment. I just think it gives extra dimension, but without any weight to it. Oops, that can go there. And then let's do small. there. And then let's do a medium for, well, the medium one. Let's actually as well, let's bring in a little bit of foliage. So there's my medium one. That's going to go there. Let's bring in this one here. So I'm going to run this one through some green foam. But I'm not going to use the whole die cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to chop it up into smaller bits. Run that one through. Pop that one out. We can chop that up just shortly. And then what I'm also going to do, let's bring in a little bit of scrap of purple that I've got here. And let's bring in one of my little butterfly dies that I like to use. And I think I might just use one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut 3. Just to make sure. Let's bring in our next one here. That's that. And that's that. So let's set all of these out the way for now. Let's set them out the way, them out the way, and them out the way. Let's start to layer this up. And then what I am going to do is the Crafter's TV and the purple I'm going to keep flat, and then on the back of the black I'm going to add some foam pads. And as I always say, the lift with foam pads or glue gel, it's completely optional. You don't have to do it. It's a nice little addition. Let's tape that on there. Add that on. And then let's bring in our foam pads. To make that nice and stable. And then these ones. We're going to again add our tape. You use your choice of adhesive. And all these layers. Pattern, purple and black. These are all going to be on. They're all going to be flat. Like so. And another thing that we can just do while I'm here, you know, I always like to put an inside in, even if I'm not sure who or what I'm going to be giving it to. Of course, this Crafter's TV one, that'll just be staying in the studio. But still, I still like to put an inside in where possible. A little bit of tape peeping under there, so let's take that one off. Let's take these off. What I'm going to do though, oh, is this stuck now? a few are alright. It's the only thing about using your dry adhesive. And when the tape's so strong, there we go, we're alright, we're good. Before I attach it all together, let's assemble our little daisies. So let's use our daisies. I'm just going to heat up the end of my glue stick here and pop it in so it sticks to the other end. Otherwise it's going to keep popping out until it starts to work its way in. So a little bit in there. And then let's go in with our foam and press. Tiny little bit. That can then go into there. So I've got my little medium daisy. And then let's do one drop. Overlay. And then bring in our little central. Here we go. Small daisy. I just want to do this now because the one I done a moment ago, that'll be dry. But just to let it fully set and dry. Let's just do it now before we do the inside of the card and we start to assemble it all. So there's my three cute little daisies. Let's move them out the side. Let's bring in the middle here. Let's bring in a strip. What's that going to be? That'll be adequate. So what's the size difference? So it's 4 1/4. Let's just use a new piece, Craig. Let's do 3 1/2 by 6 3/4. No, 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. Oh God, I've done my measurements wrong again. God, you can tell it's Sunday, can't you? Right, I'm coming in 1/2 inch. So that's 4 1/4. So let's come into 3 3/4. And that is 7 1/2 inches. So let's come in 7. Because when it comes to my insert, I do like a little bit of a thicker white outline. So that's that one. And then I'm just going to come along a piece of our white multi-purpose. And this one we're going to come in 1/4 inch. So we're going to go 3 1/2 by 6 3/4. So let's just turn that a teeny bit more. That's it. It's fine. Right, let's bring our tape in. Now, I know I've got my inserts and that, but as I always say, certainly at this moment in time, when I make these for demos or for the videos or anything like that, lives, at this moment in time, I don't know who I'm going to be giving them to. So therefore, I just put a blank insert in, and then they're good to go. And then when I know who I'm going to be giving it to, then I can pop the adequate insert in. So let's layer that up. Press in. Take these ones off. And then there's I've got a little bit of hot glue strand there. Let's tape that one in. There's my inside done. Let me just give that another burnish. And then let's start to assemble and finish. So let's take these bits off here. I just think that black works a treat. It really does. Gosh, I've done it again. It pulls in even more depth of purple and trains the eye to focus right within the middle. And then we're going to go in with our sentiment that we've done on our light box. Now, instead of going central, I'm going to go to the side just here and press in. And then with this one, what we're going to do is I'm just going to then set that. Let's go in at the side just here. Let's go in at a little bit of an angle. So let's pop our hot glue on. Because remember, if you use your tacky glue, which is a good one to use, you just need to let that set for a wee bit. So I'm under then. So if we go there, and then into there. Yeah, because I don't want to cover the crafter's TV, so I want that nice little overlap. So I'm going to overlap that there at an angle. I'm going to come in with my next one and overlap that at an angle. Just wait, take a wee drink. So that's them. And then let's take some of these. So I'm going to snip these three off. Snip these three off. I might pop that there. And that there. And let's snip one off. Snip that one on there. So let's put that one there. And that one there. I'm going to move that in, move that in. So we're kind of framing it, so to speak. Tuck that into there. Do I really want that there though? Let's go at, yeah, let's go in a little bit more. That's fine, yep. Happy with that. So let's add a little bit of hot glue. So let's just tuck that in to here. And then we're going to do the same. Tuck that one under. Now I'm only putting the glue towards kind of like the base because I like to have that kind of free flowing motion if it was to have a motion. But it being foam, it's quite sturdy. Let's piece that one out. We're going to then pop that one out into there. And then the last thing is my butterflies. So do I want one or three? Actually, yeah, let's do three. So let's do one. So it's sitting on the little centre of our daisy. So that one can go up there, and then that one can go down there. Now for this one, I'm just going to go in with my tacky glue. Tape that one. And then pop that one into there. And then that, I've got some, let me have a look at my sure I've got some purple. Yeah, here we go. I've got some like little purple pearls here. So what I'm going to do, let's pop that one back in because it's fallen out. I've got some teeny tiny ones. So I'm going to do dot, 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 and I'm just using the teeny tiny little lilac ones that I've got here. I really do just want the tiniest of ones. I think they're about 2 mil, the ones that I'm using anyway. Variety of different sizes on the sheet that I've got here, but the ones that I'm using are just like 2 mil. There we go, 3 there. And then let's do 1, 2, 3. And then same again, let's go in with our little lilac ones. These ones, in case anyone wants to know, these are Dawn Bibby's pearls. I use, the 2 that I use are Dawn's and Hunky Dory's. These ones are Dawn's, and then that's it. There we go. Lovely little card. Now, of course, I've done Crafters TV, but you can do things such as names. Just please make sure that it is a copyright-free font that you're using. And then there we go. We've got our Crafters TV. Now, it's quite bulky because I've used our funky foam, but let me tell you, it's incredibly light. So it's the Crafters TV little dots, and then that was the one that I done yesterday, giving you a little indication. So that has all been revolving around our brand new light pad. So our light pad is what's launching on Tuesday with myself and Debbie Fisher on Crafters TV. I'm saying on Tuesday, that's if you're watching it within this time scale. It is Sunday the 17th of September, and this is going to be launching on Tuesday the 19th of September. Now, we don't have full dedicated shows to it, but I'm going to be using it throughout the day occasionally within the shows. So make sure you grab yours within Wake Up Call on Tuesday, and then you can do lots of different fun things. You know, have a look online with what you can do with a light box, and I'll show you a few other things as well come Tuesday on Crafters TV. So there we go, there's a little bit more of an up close look, Crafters TV with a light box with a copyright free font. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that little video. If you do make anything that I make within the videos of that, please do make sure if you're sharing them, tag me. You don't have to tag me, but it's always lovely if you do. I do like to see what you are making. Right, I shall carry on with my Sunday. Have a lovely rest of the day and a lovely rest of the week, or a lovely rest of the whatever it is, wherever you are, whenever it is across the globe, depending on when you're watching this video, of course. But anyway, yes, if it is the weekend, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.